Color Commentary. I'm Mark Allen, and just a lazy Saturday here going through the comics, trying to do more of that organizing that I've been needing to do and, doing here and there and putting off and that kind of thing. You know how that is. Every one of you probably knows how that is. A couple of things I just wanted to show you as I was going through stuff, going through boxes of comics as well as other stuff. Just wanted to pinpoint a couple of things and show you a couple of things that you might not be aware of. I don't know how many of you collected Pogs, and some of this I'm just doing as I think about it. I don't know how many of you collected Pogs in the 90s. I collected Pogs in the 90s. In fact, for about 15 months, I lived in Hawaii. I lived on Oahu. I lived in Manoa Valley. And Pogs, I think most people learned during the 90s, Pogs actually, or milk caps, whatever you want to call them, they actually originated in the state of Hawaii. But just to prove to you that I did have a set of Pogs, that I was an active collector of Pogs, here you go. My Pog collection behind glass, lots of different Pogs on there, and most of those, this is the beauty part, most if not all of those are from the state of Hawaii, local businesses. A lot of people would use those in Hawaii rather than business cards. Okay, and so most of those I think came from the state of Hawaii, which is just kind of cool to me. Not comic related per se, but I'm about to make it comic related. But anyway, just one of those 90s trappings, one of those 90s crazes. Well, you see a lot of foil Pogs on there. You see why I like those. You know why I like those. You know how I feel about the foil. And so there was that. I really enjoyed the Pogs, but here's how that ties in. I found recently, and I probably included this in another video, but I'm going to go ahead and show it again. It ties into the Pogs. But we know, of course, that Marvel Comics got into the whole Pog craze. Okay, I have to bring this thing up because, oh wait, wrong box. We know that all the comics, not just Marvel, but DC, got into the Pog craze. And so there was some Pog issues, some Pogs issued around throughout the comic book collecting crowd. And so anyway, here you go. The original, also I mentioned they were called milk caps. These are hero caps. The original mutant superheroes X-Men hero caps, number one. And so you got you'd punch them out. Of course, I wouldn't punch them out today, obviously, but you had some great you had head and shoulder shots of all those characters. All those would punch out. But of course, who wants to punch them out? That's a really cool looking little board with the Pogs in there. Still attached. And so I don't know, did they make any more of these? I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if it lists them on the back or not, but I wonder how many of you all have these. Okay, this is it, actually still in the shrink wrap. So anyway, there's the Pogs. And oh yeah, okay, so look for these other hero cap sets: X-Men Adventures, Spider-Man, and Avengers. So I'll be chasing those down. They are trademarked in 1993, produced in 1993. But anyway, just thought that was kind of cool. Now, most of, if not all of the rest of this video has to do with Jack Kirby. As I'm going through comics and such, find things that relate to Jack Kirby in one way or another. And there's going to be one or 2 points of separation, okay? Just so you know. But the first thing, I guess, is I'll show this. I found this, and I love of course, you know that for the most part, I'm a Marvel guy. I like Marvel, love Marvel comics. There's some DC comics out there I want to get, but I always like a nice square bound annual or anniversary issue, or in this case, a DC Commandy Giant, which wasn't a dollar giant, actually. This was produced in, oh man, that's a small print, 1975. This is not even, it's as big, I think, as a dollar book, but it was 50 cents, but DC Commandy Giant. And what this was it had some new stories, plus it reprinted, well, there you go, a big spine tingler with Guerrilla Commandos and a thing from space, and then the classic origin of Commandy reprints issue number 1. But what's really cool about this, reference-wise, is it also includes an article it's called An Intimate Glimpse of Jack Kirby, his life, his home, his studio. And it actually does have, now of course, you know, they couldn't reproduce photos very well back then in the comics, especially black and white, and they were just grainy and hard to tell what's what, but a really cool article with photos about Jack, about his life at that time, and just a really cool, and it actually finishes, there's 3 pages there, okay, or 4, I should say, counting the big cover, the introductory photo, I should say. And Steve Sherman wrote it, and so it's just kind of a neat, plus the reprint of Commandy #1, which I've never even had my hands of. All the comics I've had, I've never had my hands on a Commandy #1, but really cool. I'm sure this was in Commandy #1, but the cool, the map of Commandy's world there, and you know, just kind of cool stuff. But a neat Kirby book, just a lot of fun. And you know, I've looked on eBay just today, just out of curiosity. These are not hard. These are not difficult to come by. They're not all expensive. Somewhat higher prices for nicer grades and stuff, but you can find them for very reasonable prices. I'm feeling a knot of some kind. Bear with me as I go through, see what's in this book that I'm missing here. That doesn't make me feel good. You ever feel a book and you feel all of a sudden you feel a lump in it? I'm doing this live on camera. I'm not sure what a good idea that is. And it was some little piece of plastic or something. Probably won't be able to see that, but a little piece of plastic in the book. Didn't make a hole. Didn't make a problem. Lump gone. Okay, good deal. All right. Anyway, so there's that. There's the Commandy Last Boy on Earth, issue number 32. Not a bad one to get. That one could stand a press. It does have a crease along the spine there, but I haven't had real great success in pressing square-bound books. So any of you out there know anything about that, and if you've done that, give me a heads up and give me some tips. Leave it in the comments. Okay, also Jack Kirby related. Many of you know I am a big Steve Rude fan, and have highlighted Steve Rude on my channel before. I believe, or at least in some way, shape, or form. I need to do a creator video for him. But anyway, this is there's a couple of issues here. Legends of the DC Universe. I'll just show them right here. Oh, no, just this one issue. I'm sorry, those are for the next. This one is a Steve Rude issue. Legends of the DC Universe. What you have here is you have Superman and Jimmy Olsen. It's basically a Jimmy Olsen story. You know, based on plot. This is based on a plot and concepts by Jack Kirby. Okay, there in your bottom left, I guess that would be. But based on, no, your bottom right, I'm sorry. You're based on a plot and concepts by Jack Kirby. You have here a Cadmus storyline, okay, with Superman and the Guardian and Jimmy Olsen. And you know, while Rude was not the most the best at aping Kirby's style, he could do a story. He could illustrate a story very reminiscent of Kirby, or there were certain things about it that made you think of Kirby, and so it's cool to see him pencil a story that was based on plots by Jack Kirby. Of course, it's written by Mark Evanier, and so you got this great story that I need to go back and reread. That basically is a Jimmy Olsen story. Jimmy Olsen, Superman's pal, okay, with Cadmus and Guardian and all that stuff. So if you don't know about that one, if that's not on your radar, why don't you go search it out, especially if you're a fan of those Jack Kirby comics from back in the day. Now, here's the other 2 more legends I wanted to show you. Legends of the DC Universe numbers 22 and 23. Now, these are, the name of this 2-part story is Transylvane. Let me take that tape off. Take that tape off. Take that tape off. Don't take a chance of having a tape tear on your books. All right. Transylvane, written by, and I've never heard of these guys, Randy and Jean-Marc Lossifier. Never heard of him. But it's penciled by Legendre. And Legendre was one of those guys who came into prominence, I think, in the late 1990s to early 2000s. He did a long run on cable and did some work for Humanoids Publishing as well. Maybe Hip Flask, I think, maybe Elephant Man, something like that. But here's a really, that'll give you, his style was very reminiscent of Kirby, almost to Kirby. It kind of, and I don't know what I've never read an interview with him, whether or not he was trying to ape Kirby or if that was his own style that was just heavily influenced by Kirby. The thing is, I don't have a problem once you get to know, if you know Kirby's art and you know LeDron's art, you'll never mistake the two. You'll never mistake either one for the other. But it's still really cool to look at because it's very detailed. I like LeDron's style, it's very detailed. But anyway, Legends of the DC Universe, number 22 and 23. Those are kind of cool if you're interested in, in checking out LeDron, or if you already like him, maybe you don't have that. Maybe you don't have that that work of his because it kind of flew under the radar. Now, speaking of perhaps not knowing about a work, I know that some of you who watch this are going to be your Legends, your Crisis on Infinite Earths fans. There's a chapter of Crisis on Infinite Earths that some of you may not know about. Okay, I had to take a phone call, so I'll get back to what I was talking about. Okay, so possibly unknown chapter in Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was published in February of 1999. There's a Legends of the DC Universe special Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was written by Marv Wolfman, so I consider it something that fits into the Crisis because it's the actual author, the writer on that series. And then Paul Ryan penciled it. Very cool. I've always liked Paul Ryan's style, and just a really cool Crisis on Infinite Earths, additional chapter. So I'm not going to tell you anything about what happens in it. It might be something that you want to go and find, but that's what it looks like. Very cool painted cover by Glenn Orbick. Okay, so worth it, really. You can find these sometimes. I can find these sometimes in the dollar box. Worth having, though, just for that beautiful cover. But the Paul Ryan artwork is great, and it is a cool story. So, maybe that's something that flew under your radar. Maybe you didn't know about. Now, again, I said there might be a couple of points of separation as far as Jack Kirby. So I'm going to show two things here. First of all, this is a heartbreaker, okay? This is a heartbreaker. This is a cautionary tale. Protect your works from moisture. I don't know how this happened, but these had been on our wall at our house in another part of the state, and when we first moved to where we live now, a little over 2 years ago, I never put them up on the wall. I kept them in a box, but they were close to a wall that conducted moisture. In fact, that wall ended up having mold on it. So I have these two wonderful Jack Kirby prints that I don't know if these can be pressed, but here you go. You can see even behind the glass how moisture has warped that beautiful, beautiful print. That is, I believe that one is called Incan Visitation or something like that. And the thing is, I've seen people try to sell these on eBay for like $200. I don't know if they're worth that. This one never will be. Anyway, they're very colorful, very cool. Here's another one. This one is, I can't remember if this one's called Deity or Godhead. I just don't remember. Wait a minute, it may be on the Galactic Head. Okay, but here's another one. Again, you can see the moisture ripples on there, the way that just the moisture damage. So sad, but still very colorful, very cool paintings by Kirby. Okay, so definitely Kirby related. So that's Galactic Head, and this one was indeed, I forgot the names are on there. This one was indeed, yeah, I was right, Incan Visitation, and so there's that. So anyway, sad but true. And sometimes things happen to your collectibles, to the things that you really enjoy. Just please watch out for that moisture. Now, one other thing, I'm going to have to go over here, since I was talking about Jack Kirby and Steve Rude. There is a Steve Rude piece I need to grab over here that I have had for years, and haven't displayed it for a long time, but I still have it. This was a print signed by Steve Rude that was issued. I don't remember where it was issued through, But I actually even had the thing professionally framed at Ziegler's Frame Shop in Tulsa. But here it is. This is Nexus 15th anniversary, 1981 to 1996 by Steve Rude. Beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous painting or print. But also, of course, like I said, signed there at the bottom by Steve Rude. So there is really cool. Again, the 1 point, 2 points of separation, whatever, is Steve Rude does love Jack Kirby's work and loves to do stuff in that vein and in his memory. So anyway, just thought I'd show you those things today. Sorry about the interruption for the call. Hopefully when I get this video done, it'll just be a little hiccup. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you. Thanks for watching 4-Color Commentary. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. Like this video, comment on this video, and just thanks for watching. And we'll talk to you next time.